So that was the recitation. Let us move. To me, the sea is a continual miracle. The fish that swim, the rocks, the motion of the waves, the ships with me in them. What strange miracles are there? So this poem begins with a question and it concludes with a question again. Now, so the pigs, because you have descriptive images in this poem, you can see another one, and these are some of the poetic devices in this poem. चलो इन पे बात करते हैं. जैसे कि सबसे पहले imagery. So what is imagery? It's the language that produces pictures in the minds of people reading or listening. यानी पढ़ेंगे आप या कुछ सुनेंगे तो आपके दिमाग में पिक्चर्स क्रिएट होती हैं. तो in this poem, Walt Whitman used descriptive language. That's what I said, to make the reader imagine the scenes that he creates with his words. For example, feeding in the fields is one of the examples of imagery. Or in the right, you can see stars shining so quiet and bright, etc. So this is another example. Another poetic device in this poem is alliteration. For example, repetition of initial vowel sounds. Here, the example from the poem is stars shining so bright. Or another example is makes much of, murmur sound. In first one, it is sound. And then there is another poetic device called repetition in this poem. For example, the words like every, or the word like oh, or the word phrase like to me, or repeated many times to emphasize the point that everything to the poet is a miracle. Okay? Then another last one is that what we observe, this poem is a free verse. Why? There is no rhyme scheme and there is no rhythm, internal music in this poem. Okay? So let's move to some explanation and some summary of this poem. Dear students, this poem opens with the question of why. Who makes much of miracle? Which sets the tone for the remainder of the poem. The poet then describes several moments and things that he believes are miracles because he knows nothing else but miracles. For example, the poet describes the pleasure of walking both in Manhattan and on a beach with his feet in the sand. He talks about standing under trees in the woods and how much he not only enjoys talking and sleeping next to people he loves, but also eating dinner or seeing people while out on the streets. Next, the poet takes transitions back to nature, including the sights of animals feeding, bees buzzing around a hive, and birds and insects roaming there. He then goes on to describe the beauty of a sun setting or sunset, the stars and the moon. When the poet is finished with his descriptions, he says that each of these things is in its own way a miracle to him. Like the way that day, night, space, and time seem to work together in harmony. He ends with a question, what strange miracles are there? So, in simple, वॉल्ट विटमैन को अपनी आंखों के सामने जो कुछ भी दिखाई देता है उससे वो एक मौजज़ा ही लगता है. उसके लिए मौजज़ा जैसे कुछ लोगों के लिए कोई अनएक्सपेक्टेड जो चीज हो जाए तो उसको मिरेकल कहते हैं, लेकिन वॉल्ट विटमैन की जो डिसर्निंग आई है, आंख है, अल्लाह ताला की बनाई हुई हर एक चीज में यही मौजज़ा देखती है. तो हमारे लिए अब मैसेज क्या है इस स्टोरी का, है ना? लेट अस गो टू दैट. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स क्या होता है कि we are too focused on finding something big and amazing that we miss all of the small shiny things around us. This poem makes us to realize the same thing, that this life is filled with miracles. We overlook and fail to appreciate these miracles. And we must take this point to home. This life is too short and there is no second chance. We need to appreciate everything around us as a miracle of the Supreme Being, God Almighty. So, dear students, now I put some questions here for you. आप अभी बैठिए और इनको कीजिए. अगर आप अच्छे से क्वेश्चंस कर पाए तो फिर एक बार मैं आपको गारंटी से बोलता हूं कि आप अच्छे से हाई स्कोर करोगे एग्जाम में भी, और इसका ये भी रिजल्ट होगा कि आपने स्टडी किया है पोएम को अच्छे से. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, पहला मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ, लिस्ट ऑल द मैन मेड एंड नेचुरल थिंग्स मेंशन्ड इन द पोएम एज मिरेकल्स. ठीक है. तो सेकंड वन, Whitman mentions 3 particular parts of nature in each section of this poem. Name each section with examples from the poem. क्या है तो examples के हैं, तीनों sections को बोलना है. What are the miracles that the poet finds under the sea water? समंदर के पानी के नीचे भी उसे कुछ miracles नजर आते हैं, तो क्या है वो? List the examples of alliteration and imagery in the